In April 1991, Clinton, Missouri was the kind of tight-knit farming town where people still left their doors unlocked. Violent crime belonged on the evening news, a problem for cities hundreds of miles away. 20-year-old Angela Hammond had deep roots here. She was 4 months pregnant and had recently accepted a diamond ring from her high school sweetheart, Rob Schaefer. On the night of April 4th, Rob was babysitting his younger brother at his mother's house. Around 11:15 p.m., Angela pulled into a well-lit Safeway parking lot just 7 blocks away. She walked up to the payphone to call him and say goodnight. She was simply checking in. But that routine phone call anchored her to a fixed, exposed location in the middle of the night. About 10 minutes into their conversation, the casual tone shifted. Angela mentioned a vehicle passing through the parking lot. It circled the block once, then again. With each pass, it drove a little slower. As it kept circling, she described the vehicle to Rob. It was an older model, two-tone green, late 60s or early 70s Ford pickup truck. The truck eventually pulled up right next to her phone booth. A filthy, heavily bearded man wearing overalls stepped out. He didn't use the other phone. Instead, he pulled out a flashlight and started shining it around the pavement, looking for something. Angela kept her eyes on the truck and noted one highly specific detail. Covering the back window was a large, distinctive decal of a fish jumping out of water. Rob told her to ask if the man needed to use her phone. The stranger mumbled no and went back to his truck. For a brief moment, they thought the strange encounter was over. Angela was unknowingly narrating the final moments of her own stalking to the man who had promised to protect her. A few seconds passed. Without warning, the man moved back toward the booth. Over the receiver, Rob heard a sudden, blood-curdling scream. There was the distinct sound of a physical struggle, a final, desperate cry from Angela, and then the line went dead. Rob didn't even hang up. He dropped the receiver, sprinted out the front door, jumped into his car, and hit the gas toward the town square. He knew exactly where she was. The payphone was only 7 blocks away. It was a distance he could cover in under 2 minutes. As Rob raced toward the Safeway lot, a green pickup truck blew past him, speeding in the opposite direction. Through the open window of the passing truck, he heard a voice scream, "Robbie!" He hit the brakes and threw his car into reverse to turn around. But he was still moving forward when he shifted gears. The violent maneuver severely damaged his transmission. Ignoring the grinding metal, Rob chased a truck down a county road. After 2 miles, his transmission seized. He watched the truck vanish. That split-second decision to throw the car into reverse ultimately allowed the abductor to escape. It severed the chase, leaving Rob stranded with a lifelong burden of guilt. By the time law enforcement arrived at the Safeway parking lot, all they found was the payphone receiver dangling off the hook and Angela's car abandoned nearby. The Missouri State Highway Patrol immediately launched an air and ground search. They utilized their regional databases to run a computer search for the highly specific suspect vehicle. Investigators manually checked the registration records of 1,600 green pickup trucks across the state. Not a single one yielded a match. A loud, two-tone vintage truck with a massive fish mural on the back window had driven out of a small town in the middle of the night and vanished without a physical trace. With no physical evidence, rumors began to swirl. Police subjected Rob Schaefer to intense interrogations and a polygraph test, but the timeline, witness accounts, and his broken-down car fully corroborated his story. He was entirely cleared. Detectives then looked at the geography. Within 100 miles of Clinton, 2 other women, Trudy Darby and Cheryl Kenny, had recently been abducted from convenience stores. Authorities suspected a local serial killer was hunting along the rural highway corridors. But a completely different theory emerged on the 30th anniversary of the crime. On the exact night Angela disappeared, an informant in a narcotics case received a death threat directed at his daughter. His daughter's name was Angela, and she looked strikingly similar to Angela Hammond. Whether she was taken by a roaming predator or a hitman executing a case of mistaken identity, April 4, 1991, left behind a broken fiancé and a decades-long silence that refuses to end.
Follow us to the next case on Case Files Threat Detectives.